Welcome back, everybody, to the SPL. Tonight is the night of upsets. I think this is more than we've ever had in any other day. It's numbering at least 4 tonight. And Afreeca trying to get that 3-0 against SK Telecom, something I thought I would never say, but super upsetting Innovation and a Bomber upsetting Dark leads us to this point.
Well, this next matchup is terrifying. Both Patience and soO having downwards arrows. Patience himself just getting his very first license to play in Pro League as he joined Afreeca very recently. But soO, a veteran of Pro League, playing for so many years, is also not as high up as you would like to be, having that downward indicator. I feel like soO is the favorite here, but it could go either way. And if Patience manages to get the 3rd upset here, then it's all over. And not only the Freaks take a win versus an opponent that very few teams can take out, but they get the +3. So it's very much a lot of pressure on soO right now going into this 3rd game.
Yeah, for sure, especially after the last game last week, where he did go down to Ryung on Frost. I'm sure he wants to redeem himself, especially against the guy who is new to Pro League. soO's been around for a lot of games up there, as you guys can see, 88 and 64 compared to the 1 of Patience.
Yeah, soO, I mean, he's 4-1. The downward arrow comes from his lack of success in individual leagues outside of Pro League. You know, last season, towards the end of it, we had, and even the last round, I think, we had the arrows only represent their Pro League results, but now we're moving it back towards overall results in Korea and overseas, although Korean players don't go to overseas tournaments anymore, but just in general, like overall performances. And soO has not looked as strong as he did last year, you know, just not even close. So yeah. I guess that's where the downward arrow comes from here. But as you guys can see, he's still favored 6-1.
Let's see if somehow, some way, the Monday caster Chaster there is in tune with the upsets we have tonight. He did vote for Bomber up against the player from the last game. I don't know why I can't remember. Dark. There you go. And is voting against soO here. So let's see how it does go down in game number 3. Up here in the top right, in the orange, the Zerg player from SK Telecom T1, it is soO.
And his opponent to the bottom left for the Freaks, in purple, it is Patience. The Freaks on match point versus SKT, the undefeated team so far this season. And we're going to see a very different PvZ here than what we watched in the Star League finals. Not going to be seeing Baneling drops, you know, just funky tech choices, Baneling compositions. Not very likely from soO. It's going to be more normal Ravager Roach, Hydra Lurker, that kind of thing. As we do see Patience actually go Gateway first here on Lerilak at the front of the ramp. And a gas as well, so he's not going into a super greedy Nexus. Probably going to be Gate Nexus Core as the probe goes for an early scout. This is one of our smaller maps, so just wants to have that extra layer of safety before he gets that Nexus up.
Yeah, important to do that. He is going to scout the middle as well, just in case there are any Lings coming out too quickly here. Is also going to scout the top left before the cross spawns first, which is quite interesting here.
Yeah, I'd be expecting he was going to hit the Overlord sooner. I suppose if soO sent the first Overlord south, maybe he would have. But since he sent it top left, he took this risk, this gambit instead. And I guess that does make sense, but unfortunately not what he's up against here.
Like, maybe if he scouted him at not cross spawns, it would be a shorter rush distance, and maybe he would have put down a second gate instead of the Cyber Core at the front. I mean, not 100% sure. I suppose he could add a second gate either way now, but he is going for that Nexus instead. So kind of you see this once in a while from pro players where they have a very specific way to scout, and it does tie in all with their build. and what they want to do against, you know, maybe specifically a cross-map Zerg, they want to do a different build or stuff of that nature.
He doesn't get a full scout on the main base. Confirms that over 100 gas has been mined. In fact, nearly 200, which always leaves the fear of potential early layer tech. And so he wants to scout early. Going to go for a very fast robotics here, cutting the Stargate out entirely, playing a very different PBZ than how Stats was playing in the Star League finals. Finals where Dark looked to be dominant, but Stats did take a few games. All right, we see Overlord speed, a lot of extra gas here. Let's see if he wants to follow in his teammates' footsteps and do something crazy. Look at this Overlord positioning. It's possible. It's unlikely with rocks there.
Swinging around the back.
Uh-oh. Where's the Baneling Nest? Show it to me. Do it, soO.
Do it, soO.
Do it.
You could, I mean, go for a scout and then pull it back and then just morph it into a Droverlord if he wants to.
Yeah.
But, well, more links coming out here. I think it will be a Baneling Nest. I mean...
Well, it could just potentially be a Ling drop, I guess, as well. Just straight up Lings only. Do an 8 Ling drop. Either way, the timing isn't quite there for a Baneling Nest. Like, I guess he could have had it earlier, but he doesn't have to have it if he wants to drop Banelings. At this point in time, though, it looks like it's just going to be a pure Ling drop. The Lings are going down towards that drop Overlord to the bottom left. The Droverlord morphing. A bunch of extra gates coming up here. A Warp Prism, a Bay. And it'll most likely be for a quick disruptor here for Patience.
Well, I think soO got the scout on that Warp Prism. Just barely. But that can definitely tip him off to what's coming his own way. He's going to make more and more Lings out on the map, sitting on only 40 drones here. Wants to put on the aggression. Here comes that Ling drop into the main, and this is totally unscouted here by Patience. But here comes that first Stalker.
Now he sends a Stalker over to check for it. Probes are coming off the line. He will snipe the Stalker. Oh! Warp Prism, pretty sick position here. He can actually try to save probes with it as well. Gonna need a Zealot, though, to really stop this. There's the probe save. Kind of funny to have a Warp Prism used like this.
Defensive Warp Prism against Ling drop. What kind of meta are we sitting in?
And another attack here at the natural. The Photon Overcharge will deter this, but a lot of scouting and forced lost mine time being taken here for soO, and he will grab the Stalker potentially just out of range. The Disruptor drop is already scouted as well, so he should be able to deal with that pretty easily back at home.
Yeah, meanwhile, he's got a bunch of Lings at the front door. There is no entrance. 0. You might as well stop trying, Lings. There you go. Gonna back off and start getting to work on those backdoor rocks, as that will be another possible entrance into the base. He's actually just going to drop him over. He still has this Overlord.
Yeah, he's elevatoring Lings in here. It's kind of a funny situation we're watching. There are a decent amount of Stalkers. He's going to need more Lings than that. Just backs off. All right, here comes the first Disruptor drop. soO looks like he's not paying attention. 3 drones go down. Could have been worse. Could have been worse.
Definitely could have been worse, and now that will tip soO off to, you know, if he didn't know it before, he's going to pay more attention to it now. And is going to send a bunch of his Lings back for the defense. And I think we will transition into a bit of a later game here, as these guys are at cross spawns. The early harass hasn't done too much, although Patience isn't giving up here. He wants to drop that Disruptor, and here we go once again. Going to get 3 more kills and just back off.
Yeah, basically just trading shields and health on that Prism for 6 kills in total. I believe you saw that Spire. Yep, this tells us alone. Yep, there's the confirmation. But yeah, he's adding double Stargates lets us know for sure he saw it. So he's going to be able to go double Phoenix production here. It has all 6 gases online now at that third base. Warp Prism's speed coming up very early here. He wants to continue that harass. And obviously with mutas on the map, it becomes a lot tougher. And I don't mean more Disruptor harass. He's probably just going to be doing Adept drops, Zealot Warp ends, and things of that nature. And this this tech commitment will make it a lot easier to zip that around the map.
Yeah, I wonder what the follow-up is going to be from soO, because he is going to commit to the 9 mutas. I'm not 100% sure if he knows that Patience did get the scout, but by the time those 9 mutas do get over to the base of the Protoss, they are going to be shut down. And cleaning up the watchtower here with the Disruptor, not something you see too often, but yeah. I suppose you can do that when you do have this out on the map. He's going to see these Stargates now.
So let's see how many he commits to. 9 initially, and it looks like that's all he's going to make. Obviously later on he can transition into Broodlords if the game falls for it. +1 on the way for Patience, as he knows that this is going to be an air-centric game for him for the time being, and potentially even more so later on. Adding a few gates. Phoenix is out, a few of them are already, that is to say, but none of them near this base. The cannon was not ready either. Finally the Phoenixes arrive, and we'll push those mutas away, but a lot of damage done nonetheless. 6 probes go down. Yeah,
and he's still got all those Phoenixes, or rather, mutas alive that he could try to come in from a different angle, but now with 4 of these Phoenixes, but uh-oh, Patience rather, is not microing them. One of them is going to go down, another one getting very, very low. And it looks like soO does want to transition into a mainly air-based army as he adds some more corruptors here.
He doesn't have a hive even available yet. This Warp Prism with the speed going to escape so far. But yeah, the Infestation Pit is on the way. More corruptors coming out. Corruptor's obviously going to be a great tool to control the air army. He's going to be able to overpower the Phoenixes with that. Mutas are looking for a grab here on this Warp Prism. If he split them, he might be able to secure it. He might find it anyways. Looks like he will. Good micro here. Good stutter steps. And it will go down, this Warp Prism, as well as the Disruptor. So nice catch here. No longer having to worry about that. And a Baneling Nest. Better late than never.
I suppose he could go for drops, or if he just wants to play like Dark did, I mean, they are teammates. He could just add that into his regular composition. Go very heavy on the links. He's already got the +1 to melee. And, you know, go Ling, Bane, get Adrenal Glands out with that Hive, of course, go into Ultras. It's proven to be a very strong composition against Protoss even.
Yeah. I was looking at how the upgrades are coming along here. You're still getting the +1 armor. Hive coming up. I think we are going to see a Brood, or rather a Greater Spire, a Broodlord Spire come up here very shortly as soon as that Hive is done. He's got plenty of Corruptors that synergize with this. And at these positions on this map, it's a pretty long rush distance. It's hard for Patience to punish this Hive tech. And when he has Baneling speed and a bunch of Banelings that do have they will have 2-1 upgrades shortly, it's hard to attack into that as well, especially when you're going for a Charged Zealot composition, as is the way of PvZ. So, Warp Prism coming over here. The Banelings also could be used for drop defense. We've seen Dark do that countless times. It's very effective because you're dealing with Adepts and Zealots, both of which have trouble versus Speed Banelings on creep. And the creep spread for soO is also going down all 3 fingers, you know, to the middle and on both sides, so there's no pathway undetected for Patience. This Warp Prism gets spotted again.
I love the way you say the 3 fingers of creep coming out on this map. It really does look like those octopus tentacles, you know, from the lean octopus being dragged across the map slowly but surely.
It's if that base that just finished the 5th base is the thumb, it's like a cartoon character's hand. Only 3 fingers. All right, look at this Warp Prism. Another one. He made 2 of them. Trying to find damage but struggling. Scouts the huge Baneling morph though. So he knows about this. He's committing to the attack, but he's so far on creep, as I was mentioning before, and these Banelings, 47 of them. Going to be tough to engage into. I think he needs more Archons, more Immortals before he wants to commit to that.
And look at this, he's getting an Ultralisk Cavern and a Greater Spire. He's like, okay, cross spawns, Lerilak, Crest, I have all the time in the world. My creep spread is quite nice. And I do have the necessary defense here to defend until I can get those techs up. He's got a massive bank as well. Here we go. He's going to roll on here. He's got that creep coming through, and here come the Banelings, rolling mainly into Immortals and Archons.
And the rest of the Archons coming up here makes this a pretty good fight for Patience overall. The Ultras that he has in his army not ready yet, and so it looks like Patience is going to continue the attack. He has that Warp Prism, which means he can continue to reinforce. This is the one scary moment for soO before those Ultras come out, and they're so long away, they're not even halfway done.
Here we go, on top of that 4th base. It looks like he just wants to take the fight. He was looking possibly for those morphing Banelings. Is just going to back off. Looks like he's going to throw away a... Oh! Really nice pickup there. Saves the Immortal and keeps that in his army.
All right, he's got a lot of Blink Stalkers in it. Blink back. He could barrier that Immortal. Looks like it goes down anyways. So many Banelings here, and it looks like he may have just overextended a little bit too much. He's now losing all these expensive units. He lost all of his Archons, all of his Immortals are dead, and the Stalkers are trying to run away, and this time there are Ultras on the map for the counterattack. 4 of them, and 3 more are on the way.
Yeah, I mean, Patience, he did his damage. He took out the 4th base, denied that mining there, and he was even doing a bit of damage to the 5th base while that was going on with the DT. Has taken some damage, but now he's on the defensive. He has 4 bases himself, and he needs to make sure he can stay alive against this attack.
Well, 3 Archons alone, I don't think it's going to cut it. And he doesn't have a big gas bank. That was just such an expensive trade for Patience versus a Dark, or excuse me, not Dark, a soO, a teammate of Dark, who casts too many Dark versus Stats games, who has a massive bank, or had, you know, he just spent it all to create this monstrosity of an army.
Yep, it's going to be 8 Ultras. He has 10 Corruptors in the sky, and look at this, soO has found it. He's like, that's a really puny army. Well, hello, I will take this attack. The Immortals in the front will barrier, and this isn't the best place for Ultras to fight, but now they get their concave.
There's just too many.
Patience has to back off.
Just too many in general. He just doesn't have the army size he needs to stop this. Corruptors are going to go for the harass here on the Nexus, and he's going to kill it. I mean, that's just too much.
That's really powerful, man. You get those Corruptors. It was only 10 Corruptors. Just 10. That took about 10 seconds. So there you go.
All right, all the Ultras are catching reinforced. It's going to cut the army over at the 3rd, away from the 4th base. And Ultra City over here, Stalker's warping in. Look at that Ultra just regenning faster than the cannon can even kill it. This base is out under tatters as well. It looks like soO is going to bring SK Telecom T1 back into this series.
We'll bring them their first win of the night. Weird to say about SK Telecom T1, but soO playing a really fantastic game. The Corruptors, you guys aren't seeing if they're in the main. They could begin harassing these buildings, and there they go. Gonna get to work on that Nexus now.
Yeah. These heavily upgraded Lings running in here as well. This Nexus will go down. It's a little bit of the gas mining here for Patience. Patience is dead no matter what. Make no mistake. Now he's, you know, further dead with this down. This Nexus is gonna go down. All the probes are dead. He should type out very shortly here, as there's nothing he can do. He's 1/3 the supply of soO at this point in time. +3 gonna finish way too late to make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, more and more Ultras just on the way. And soO definitely in control of this one, as Patience struggles to believe it at this point. Looks like he will be taking his 2nd loss so far in his 2 games of Pro League.
And there you go, GG, soO, bringing us to that game 4. And, you know, just totally controlling that game. Having the early mutas and corruptors to, you know, harass, having that baneling amount to engage. And we live in a world now where we have Ling drops with elevator Lings and baneling drops and baneling compositions versus Protoss. A very unique meta that we've never had before, and it's very exciting, as it's, you know, most matchups are, the skeleton of them is the same as it was in Lings of Liberty to a certain extent, you know? Like,
yeah, I mean...
But this one, not at all anymore, I feel. I mean, I guess the late game is still somewhat similar. The Ultra's very powerful, the Brewlord's still feasible, but the early mid-game is just so different than anything we've ever seen before.
Yeah, I love it, and it's on the back of what these SK Telecom T1 Zergs are doing. You know, Dark, first to do it, soO following in the footsteps, and these guys are really just saying no, like, Ling Bane is the way to go. Make those mutas. Go do it. It's a very strong composition. It works now in this matchup. I even like the Corruptors, too, getting to work on the buildings. I wonder if we won't see that a little bit more. You know, get them early to help out your mutas, and then while you're attacking somewhere else with your later game army, you can just get to work on the buildings somewhere else as well. You can take it on Nexus so quickly with that.
Yeah, I mean, the Corruptors can allow you to transition to Brewlords. We already saw the Greater Spire from him earlier. But let's go into the 4th map.